Greetings, fellow traders. Thank you for being here, and thank you to all the new subscribers. It's been a fantastic start for the month of December. So I'm so happy to be able to share this with you guys today. So first off, when it comes to trading, you always want to do your reviews and preparation on either Saturday or Sunday before the market opens so that you can kind of learn from any mistakes you made from the week before, and you can also get an idea as to what you should be looking for the week ahead. All right, so for starters, let's go ahead and look at my trading so far. So if you saw the video that I did last week, you saw that I was up a little over 6,000. And now you can see that I am up 14,000 so far. So for me, I have a weekly goal of $5,000 per week so that should average out around $20,000 per month. And as you can see, I am on track for doing that. And since I had such a great week last week, I only need to technically make roughly $900 this week to still be on track. But of course, I'm going to try and exceed that so that I can hurry up and get to that 20,000 mark as fast as possible. Now, next week is the week before Christmas. So the market might act a little funny. All right, so let's just do a quick review just to see how I'm trading and go over a few things. So we can see here, I am now up to $14,379. I like to keep track of each week. So I will adjust the time period, and I will do from Sunday till today. So we can change here. All right, so we can see here that last week I was actually up around uh, close to $8,000, which is pretty good. I was way above my goal, which is very important. As long as it's 5,000 and up, that's considered pretty good. And then you can also see so far I've had a little over 6,000 in losses, and I've also had a little over 20,000 in gross profit. And then you can see that average there. So I had a really good day on Monday, and this is what put me way above my goal for the week. So for the rest of the week, I was able to coast. Um, I could have been a little bit more aggressive, and I wish I was, because there were some great opportunities. But one thing that I have learned about trading is once you hit your targets, once you hit your goals for the week, and if you even exceed those goals, it's better to be smart and just stick to what you've made and not risk losing all your gains, because that happens to so many traders. They will have an amazing week, amazing day, and then all those gains are lost and they start and then end up starting back from zero. So when you become a professional trader or a career trader, it's really about protecting your profit, protecting your gains, and always protecting your account, especially if you are a prop firm trader. All right, so let's just get an idea as to the type of trades I was doing. So you can see here that this is all manual trading, so no robots. So, for a lot of people who think you can't be successful manually trading, I am showing you that you can. And then you can see the symbols that I was trading. So, last week, if you remember, I was down on the British pound Japanese yen, but I gave it a second try. I saw some opportunities and I went for it. And now you can see here, I was able to recoup those losses that I had on the British pound Japanese yen. And now I'm looking really good with that pair. And then, as I mentioned before, I am an amazing gold trader. So I think last week I had like a little over 5,000 in profit from gold. Now I'm like around what 8,200. And then I increased my gains on the US dollar, Japanese yen. I didn't do anything with the US dollar, Canadian dollar. Like I said, that currency pair is kind of sketchy to me, and I don't really like it. And I'm starting to have the same feeling with the Australian US dollar. So I'm kind of pulling away from that as well. So for me, what I look for is the small details of things that I could have stayed away from and things that and little mistakes that I could have made. One of the mistakes that I made was I didn't follow my strategy to the T. And when I get into my trading view, I'll show you guys exactly what I mean. All right. And you can see here. My drawdown went up just a little bit, but I mean it's still very low. So I'm not really too concerned about that. All right. So for the most part, I mean I'm trading very well, so there really isn't too much to improve on other than sticking to the rules with my strategy and staying away from certain conditions and also not over trading. Sometimes if I have a loss, I will retry and then I will retry again, maybe 3 or 4 times. And then I'm like, okay, shoot, now I'm going to give up when it's almost better if you shoot your shot and it's wrong, maybe give yourself one chance to recoup those losses. But once you start trying like 3 or 4 or 5 times in one day and they turn out to be losses, that's when you start having unnecessary mistakes. So if we're looking at some of my trades here, like these losses right here, you know, they could have been avoided. Uh, but I kept on retrying them. When the buy didn't work, I tried to sell. And then and I tried that several times. So, if I would have just stuck to my discipline and not tried to recoup some of the losses, I could have prevented this from happening and I could have protected more of my wins. And then so you can see here. And then the Euro US dollar just wasn't shaping up well for me. So um on the charts it looked pretty solid, but it was just unnecessary because I was struggling with gold. So I figured, okay, let me try the Euro US dollar and see if I can recoup some stuff there. And it just made everything worse. So those are some of the mistakes that I made last week. So next week, I'm going to try and avoid those mistakes. All right, so now let's look at the Forex Factory calendar. So if this is something that you guys are not doing, I strongly recommend that you get into the habit of doing this on a weekly basis, just so you have an idea as to what you can expect. So on Monday and Tuesday, not much is going on. I really don't stress myself out with news on the Australian dollar, especially around this time period, because the trading volumes are typically very low at this time period, and I'm not trading at this time period anyway, so I'm not going to be too concerned with this with these news events. Now, the Japanese yen, whenever you see tentative on the Japanese yen, basically that means at any time. Usually sometime around midnight to like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning during US Eastern Standard Time is when the Japanese yen will make some moves if there's some high impact news going on. But the Japanese yen is very unpredictable. So I'm going to avoid trading the Japanese yen currency pairs on Monday altogether. And I'll see in the morning if it makes sense to trade like the British pound, Japanese yen, and the US dollar, Japanese yen. So on Tuesday, so for those who like trading the Canadian dollar, there might be some opportunities there. For me, I'm not going to be too concerned with this. I'm still going to stick to most likely just trading gold. And then on Wednesday, we should have some news going on. Now, this is very important to understand when it comes to news on the US dollar at 10 a.m. So the US market opens at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in the US. A lot of times, what'll happen is the market will start to make some big moves even before the news comes out on the US dollar, especially when you trade gold. So, in situations like this, even though there's nothing scheduled at 8 o'clock in the morning, you might want to look at 8 o'clock in the morning to start placing your trades because a lot of times the move will already happen before the high impact scheduled news event on the US dollar. All right. And then when the news comes out, then there might be some other moves too. So it's very important to pay attention to 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time when you trade gold and US dollar currency pairs. Now, on Thursday, we do have some more news on the US dollar. So this would be a good time. I like trading the US dollar currency pairs when there isn't any scheduled news event after a scheduled news event. So, for example, at 8:30 a.m., you have all this news, and then you don't have anything else scheduled after that. So, this is a good day to trade on Thursday. So I'm definitely going to be looking at some opportunities there. Now, Friday is going to be super sketchy because you see how I was just talking about this. So at 8:30 a.m., you have some high impact news on the US dollar. And then again, you have high impact news on the US dollar at 10 a.m. So a lot of times what will happen is gold will either make its big move on the first news event or it's going to wait until the next high impact news event to make its big move. And one of the things we saw last week was gold didn't even make its big moves until like an hour or so later. So let's go into my trading view here so that we can see exactly um, what we can look forward to. Okay, so now that we're inside of my trading view, we can kind of look and see what the charts was looking like on Friday. So before I do that, I just want to show you real quick. So we had high impact news events on a lot. We had a lot of stuff going down on Friday, right? So there is news scheduled at 9:45 a.m. But check this out. At 9:45 a.m., gold decided it wasn't going to do anything. So it had no bearing on the high impact news event that was scheduled. And in fact, gold waited until 1 o'clock to make a big move. So that was some wild stuff. And something else that we noticed last week was the Fed is starting to pivot. So last week, the Fed made an announcement that they were going to start lowering rates for 2024, 2025, and 2026. So with all those rate cuts that they were projecting, the US dollar had a huge crash. So on Friday, the Fed started making announcements saying, "Whoa, whoa, 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 slow down, slow down. Let's just not get ahead of ourselves. We're going to just see what happens." So they started to pull back from the rate cuts because the US dollar was crashing too fast. So as a result, the US dollar had a huge move like towards the later part of the afternoon on Friday. So this is turning out to be a very interesting situation because now this week which should have been pretty quiet, is now shaping up to look like there might be some fireworks, especially if we start seeing or hearing a more hawkish tone, meaning the Fed is going to start looking at increasing interest rates. So when I set my support and resistance lines on the 15-minute time frame, this is going to tell me that there's most likely going to be a huge breakout because most people didn't have time to react to that news that came out. So what I am predicting is that Sunday, when the market opens, we might see some huge moves from gold. So gold might make a huge drop because people might start being concerned, like, oh, wow, the Fed is really concerned about the US dollar. They're going to start intervening with the currency. So, a lot of people might start to look to sell gold as a result of that. So I expect the US dollar to be kind of bullish next week, or I mean, not next week, but this week. And that's pretty much what I'm looking for so far. We can kind of see here the US dollar ended strong. I mean, the US dollar should have been breaking below 100. But after that Fed announcement, then that pretty much shut everything down from the US dollar falling. So we'll see if the US dollar can keep this bullish momentum going for the rest of the year. But it's looking like a very close call at this point. Okay, guys, thanks for being here. If you need help, reach out to me, check out my website, and I look forward to working with each and every one of you. All right, take care and have a great day.